Well, thank you very much, Chairwoman Harmon and Vice Chair Edelman, for your impressive and sobering testimony. Just to reiterate, you've said it several times, but it's important to note, is that our funding, it can't be exclusive to the Department of Defense. We have to look at the Department of Treasury, Department of State. You even indicate the Department of Education because of the shortfalls we're seeing in recruitment, which can be traced back to very poor education and very poor public health, obesity. Just again, Representative Harmon, Ambassador Edelman, your comments on that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All elements of national power. The U.S. needs to project power across our government, leverage the enormous talent and innovation of the tech sector, connect both of those to partners and allies, and then we have impressive deterrence and in the kind of integrated deterrence that the NDS, the 2022 NDS calls for that has never been achieved.
Thank you. When I was in the service a long, long time ago, the stock phrase was shoot, move, and communicate. Now I believe the phrase is communicate so that you can shoot and move. One of the key elements, I think, is we have tried, but we're not there yet, with a communication system that reaches every aspect of our military, which is uninterruptible and which is dependable. Ambassador Edelman, your thoughts on that issue?
No, I very much agree with that, and that, of course, what the Joint All-Domain Command and Control System is meant to address. But as you say in your, as you suggested in your question, Chairman Reed, the department's not quite there yet, and we're, of course, it's complicated by the fact that the system is being done by all three services and then has to be brought together and unified. So there's a lot of work to be done on that, and it's one of the areas where we think that insufficient progress has been made.
In terms of priority, I would think it'd be very, very high on the list, if not number one. As I said, if you can't communicate, you can't do lots of things. Is that your feeling too?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I could just add one thing to that.
Of course.
We call for interoperability, which has not been achieved across the Pentagon, let alone with other government agencies, let alone with partners and allies. And we make a point that some of our classification systems work against each other in terms of sharing information. And the goal would be to have an effective communication system across all elements of national power.
Thank you. The other, one of the many points, and you've emphasized, and I think importantly so, is we have to engage the American people, not just in getting out the word about the threat, but also getting them involved. And that puts a big emphasis on public service, not just in the military domain, but in civilian public service. And can you just elaborate on those, starting with Chairman Harmon?
Well, the notion of public service isn't new, as you know, Mr. Chairman. It's been around for years. It was around when I served in Congress, and Congress did not act on any of the proposals that I saw. It is still a way to get all of the public at the proper age engaged in understanding the requirements of citizenship. A lot of our young people have no earthly idea, sadly, because they have no civic education, what our government really is and what are the ways to serve. And surely one of the most honorable ways to serve is as a member of the military. You did it, and other members of this committee have done this. And I think that is the way to revive a kind of sense of coherence and patriotism that we are lacking right now.
And adding to this, Ambassador Edelman, is the point you make in the report. The size of our military force is too small, and our ability to expand it rapidly is probably very weak. Is that a fair estimate of our situation?
I think that is a fair estimate, Mr. Chairman. You know, we have not really, as a society, talked about the need for national mobilization. But if the worst were to happen, and some of the worst scenarios we discuss in our report were to come to pass, and were we to face a global global conflict. It would require mobilization on the scale of what we did as a nation during World War II. And we haven't done that in a long time. We haven't thought about that in a long time. There are a lot of elements to it, including stockpiling strategic materials, but being able to rapidly bring people into the military, et cetera. And I just don't think we're prepared to do it. I think we have to have a national discussion about this. And I think it goes hand in hand with the earlier discussion you had with my colleague about public service and serving the nation.
We had in World War II 2 years, essentially from September 1st, 1939 to December 7th, 41, to prepare. And I doubt it will have 2 years to prepare in this environment. Thank you very much.